When I was in high school, I was a super big fan of anything hip hop and rap related. I'm still a fan of the genre, but back then I would really follow things closely. I would watch hip hop related channels, Vlad interviews, DJ Small Eyes interviews.
Percocet, you want one?
No.
Oh, you don't do perk?
No, I don't personally.
Off the porch, and I'd watch No Jumper pretty much every day at certain points. This was after Adam's initial boom and the whole Zandemic era. Think like his RMC Mike and Rio interview. I fell off watching until around when Adam kicked everyone off and had that whole drama, and it kind of drew me back in. Then I guess one of his new hosts or something beat the shit out of some kid. Anyway, No Jumper is important for this video because it's where I was introduced to the character I'll be talking about today. Character might not actually be the right word because it would be much better if this guy was playing a character, but I don't think that he is. I've always liked rap music of all types from pretty much any region and time period, and I understand rappers will say stupid things when they're talking about a topic, maybe in which they're uninformed, or they just get something trivial wrong, or sometimes they do shit like this.
That shit is just like crazy, homie. So forgiving and so loving and so everything.
I may laugh, but it will never really turn me off of an artist. The rapper I'm going to talk about today, though, is on such another level when it comes to being a moron that I'd go as far as to say every single interview he's done is unlistenable, and he makes all of his entourage and even the interviewer sometimes look ridiculously slow. Lefty Gunplay, whose real name is Franklin Holiday, was born in Baldwin Park, Los Angeles. He started rapping seriously after he met another rapper, Jap5, while incarcerated. Jap5 encouraged him to pursue his rap career more seriously than he had been before. Now, the first song that I heard from him was when he released his remix to Game's Start From Scratch. I didn't mind Lefty's part of the song, but the other guy on it was pretty unlistenable. From the first time that I saw him, I'll be honest, I pretty much assumed he would kind of just fade away in the sea of more talented California/Los Angeles rappers. Then I started seeing the interviews.
After I nut, I get over it. Shut up, fool. You kidding? The interview twice already. Damn, dog.
Yeah.
I don't give a f. You see how I do it? Look, check it out, dog.
So you pass me some hoes?
Real Rhino, baby. Dead homies. You know how I roll. Every time f a honey pack, we with that Rhino shit. Plug me in, baby.
No, but everybody.
I mean, you could step out of here right now and say, fuck it, the interview's done with.
Fuck you, dog.
And I will though. If I
Do it if you feel like you need to do that, bro.
No. We could do that because I'm gonna say fuck the interview and I'm gonna
say fuck me, bro.
I think I was maybe halfway through this one when I realized I was looking at someone who should have been getting interviewed by a doctor in a mental health facility and not a hip-hop journalist in a studio. Rappers being incoherent, on drugs, retarded, and sometimes a mix of all three during interviews is not new or really even interesting at this point. But what makes Lefty Gunplay stand out to me are two things in particular. The first is how his black hole of unintelligence is such a powerful force in the universe that it manages to make rooms of people look stone cold retarded at a time. I have yet to find an interview where a conversation flowed close to normally with this guy. The second thing is the bigger crime to me, and that makes me dislike him more than him just being slow. There are plenty of rappers who I wouldn't necessarily call some of the great scholars of our time, but I still enjoy their music and oftentimes even like them as a person. My big issue is his tag team combination of arrogance and lack of awareness. These two traits seem to work together perfectly to create some pretty honestly embarrassing moments for Lefty. Recently, there's been a bit of a change in attitude towards rappers and their arrogance. We saw this magnified with the Little TJ situation, but I've been seeing it happening in rap interview comment sections for a while now. People are growing tired of rappers being so arrogant and honestly childish. People that portray themselves as gangsters shouldn't be throwing tantrums whenever the slightest thing doesn't go their way. I personally never really have an issue with the arrogance alone. Here and there I'll hear something that gets me a little bit hot behind the ears, but usually it's when there's a clear lack of self and social awareness, along with a certain kind of smugness, and this is what makes Lefty annoy me more than other rappers, is his blend of ignorance and arrogance. It's almost comical until I imagine myself as the one having to converse with him, and that's when I get angry. His new interview with podcaster Matan Evan highlights his lack of awareness in honestly a hilarious way. I also want to use this podcast/interview as an example of the point I made earlier about Lefty making the people around him look dumb. Before we take a look at the interview, this other guy who comes in with Lefty is California rapper Problem, who I actually knew about long before Lefty was even around. He's far from the dumbest of rappers and is a decent writer and has a few songs that I used to listen to a lot when I was younger. I guess he has an album coming out with Lefty, that's why he's here, even though Lefty's the main guest. With Lefty being the main guest, a lot of the questions were just directed at him, and let me tell you, watching Problem sit there and realize how much of a moron this guy is as he listens to his answers is priceless. At points, Problem will jump in to try to defend or kind of help Lefty, but it feels more like an attempt to protect rappers from looking like idiots as a whole. There were definitely definitely also points where I really made an album with this guy was plastered all over Problem's face. From the very first question, it was apparent where this interview was headed.
How does the price to earnings ratio help investors evaluate whether a stock is over or undervalued? What are your thoughts, Lefty?
I got a lot of stocks.
A lot of stocks?
Yeah, I got stocks.
Which ones are you invested into?
Mod Stock Financial and
Now, as funny as this response is, I'm not going to fault him too much for that. He's an artist who creates art, if that's what you want to call it, and if he's decided to hire people to deal with his stocks instead of learning himself, I wish I could do that, so I won't blame him. But the question is still hilarious nonetheless, and is honestly one of the more minor things that Lefty embarrassed himself over.
Whoever made that joint, like, man, I'll break your fingers, dog, on the set.
So if you've never seen Matan's show before, you really should watch it. It's pretty funny. The other two rappers in the interview are Matan's friends, I would assume. They do something different in every episode, but they're always there. My favorite is the kid in the middle with the Manson lamps. His name in this is 10 Mile.
I don't even want to live no more.
yeah, I got you.
I don't know.
Take him outside.
Yeah, let's see if he for real.
I'm the hood. I'm like that. I'll probably have to take a drive with him.
The way he looks longingly at Lefty after saying he doesn't want to live, and Lefty not being able to maintain eye contact with those absolute dinner plates is pure comedy. They aren't super important for this video, but they made me laugh a few times during the interview, so I had to mention them. This next back and forth between Matan and Lefty really puts on display his lack of conversational awareness.
If there was really a suicidal guy, would you?
I'm all against suicide prevention.
You're against suicide prevention. You
Yeah.
say to kill yourself.
Yeah, pills with weapons, all kinds of shit. I'm crazy. Lefty, I can't
My
get
life
right.
been a joke since the fucking beginning.
Is that right?
I'm sorry I keep putting clips of 10 Mile, but for some reason he really made me laugh, especially during all my rewatches of the interview. This next part comes not long after and really highlights the difference in IQ between Problem and Lefty.
When Trump builds the wall at the southern border, do you think he should also build a wall around East LA?
Hell no.
But wouldn't that kind of just fix the problem altogether instead of half-half?
I'm fucking tripping already, huh?
Matan asks a decently spicy question to Lefty. Problem immediately starts laughing and covers his face with his hand. At first, Lefty smiles, but then he pulls a classic Lefty maneuver when he pretty much talks himself into being upset or annoyed. His tangents are so fucking annoying that he manages to even piss himself off subconsciously. You could tell he's about to start off his unintelligible ramblings, and then his brain just overloads and he pisses himself off. It literally seems like he cut himself off in this part right here.
And they told me, chill out.
You don't like that question?
Hell no.
Motherfucker, fuck the fucking world. My new band is called Sizkill.
He just didn't even want to finish his fucking thought because his brain was so overloaded with too many words at a time. As funny as all the Fousey Tube shit was, I'm not gonna fault two rappers for not knowing who the hell he is. Same kind of deal with this question, but Lefty's response combined with the question itself make it infinitely more funny.
Why did Richtofen need the Gersh device?
I fuck with Kanye.
What? What's that?
Alright, so this is the last clip I'm going to play from Matan's podcast, but go check out the show if you haven't seen it. I left out a lot, and there's tons of funny shit in this episode, plus in other episodes. But anyhow, this again, it just highlights his mental simplicity, honestly.
What should be the punishment for somebody committing crimes in the hopes of going to jail?
What should be the punishment?
Yeah.
With the hope to go to jail.
So putting them in jail wouldn't be a punishment, so should they still go to jail?
Yeah. Send them still. Let's see.
What do you think?
Oh, I'll be going to jail all the time. I don't give a fuck about the punishment.
That has nothing to do with the question.
Yeah, I was about to go crazy. I was about to pull the blick out and just walk out and go smoke a cigarette.
On May 28th of 2024, Lefty made his first appearance on Bradley Martin's Raw Talk podcast. He would come back on with another guy about 2 months later, but I'm just going to focus on his first interview today. He hilariously talks about his new Netflix movie starring John Bernstein from The Punisher and Liam Neeson from The Takers. At one point during the interview, even threatens to walk off.
Do you see? Because like I'm not making this relationship to like 6ix9ine or anything, but 6ix9ine.
Hell nah, don't even say that.
It's not. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying.
Yeah, why would you even say it though?
No, listen. Let me finish it. Let me finish it. Look.
Nah, I'll walk off from the.
No,
I will.
let me finish it. I promise.
Yeah, you're not gonna
my rep.
Before going into this, I do want to say Bradley is not that socially aware himself and does not do himself any favors from the beginning.
Beyond that, though, like you're a character, in my opinion. Like you're entertaining.
Right?
You're entertaining.
Should I take that as an insult or what? No.
Calling him a character was crazy, and he should have known comparing Lefty to 6ix9ine in any way would set him off. Any reasonable person can look at Lefty and clock fairly quickly that he himself is not a reasonable person. This might be a hot take, but I don't blame him for threatening to walk out. There is a chance 6ix9ine could have been literally the only person Bradley could think of to compare internet presences to, but I kind of doubt it. In the end, even if Lefty is being a bit unreasonable, Bradley should have just known better. That's not the interaction I want to focus on though. A bit before that, Bradley asked Lefty about his involvement with his kids. Now, I don't have kids, thank the Lord, but I was around a lot of really shitty custody conflicts and messed up living situations, specifically involving young kids when I was younger. So I'm not one to talk lightly or speak on any misinformation about somebody's situation when it comes to stuff like this. Honestly though, Lefty says some stuff that makes me question how much he truly understands the consequences of creating another life.
They should just drop him off at my house. I always tell him, like, he's not going to overdose from crying. Just leave him in my house. If he cries, he cries. You're not going to OD. Like,
this statement alone makes it clear to me that whoever has custody of his son is right to bar him from being at Lefty's house. He says it himself here and doesn't even realize it.
my baby mama's family always thought that I was a bad influence until I started getting this money.
Yeah, I wonder why, dude. Look at you. I wonder what he's actually done to prove he's responsible enough to take custody of a son. I mean, there's been clear drug use admitted to on interviews, and he also makes a statement later on during Raw Talk.
So, but to the kid who wants to get out of it and do something different, whether it's rapping or just
You can't
something
get out of it. You can't get out of it. You got to just, gangbang is for life, man. You get in the hood, that hood runs deep. If I'm up, these fools are going to knock on my door. You know what I'm saying? That hood shit runs deep. There's no getting out of it. But if that's what you want to do with yourself, then cool.
He says it himself. Someone who's in the streets of LA can never leave. Therefore, he can never leave. Although, he says he doesn't want that for his son.
I mean, it happens. So it's cool that it comes out to light what it's really like. But I wouldn't want my son doing it.
Yeah.
Or my daughter doing it, you know?
That kind of reminds me of one of my favorite TV shows, to be honest.
I need my sons to grow up hating the thought of me.
In conclusion, I think for Lefty, he has a lot of stuff that he needs to work on before he has the right to be as arrogant as he is. I really think that's what pisses people off the most about him. He's socially unaware, unintelligent, hardly even fluent, and has custody problems and welfare checks that would make you or me take a bath with a toaster. I personally don't think he's that talented, and the drugs and lifestyle that he's lived has pretty much rotted his brain to a point where I don't really see any chance of him improving. That is, unless he completely turns his life around, and that's probably not likely. The last thing I want to say is I didn't make the Sons of Anarchy comparison to say Lefty should kill himself to be out of his son's life. I made it to say that Lefty, if he really cares about his son as much as he says and should, he would leave the heavy gangbanging aside and work to keep his freedom intact so he can be a positive influence on his son's life. I really hope that can happen for him, and only time will tell if it does. That's really all I've got for you today. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I really hope you guys have a blessed week.